So every December we have this tradition where we watch all of the Star Wars movies.
Mainly because before we started dating, I had only seen one Star Wars movie.
The worst one. But since we did Marvel movies last month, I figured we would come back and do Star Wars movies with our tradition month. So today we're going to be ranking the 10 Star Wars movies that have come out so far.
We're not doing TV shows.
It's not the holiday special because
nobody cares about Chewie's children.
So at number 10, we've got Attack of the Clones.
It's bad.
Okay, I'll say this, just like with the Marvel movies, I can still find some enjoyment even out of the bad ones, but like objectively it's the worst.
Out of all of them.
Out of all 10 of the movies, it's the worst. Being that it's one of the prequels, it kind of gets a rough start just because of that, because most people don't like the prequels as opposed to the originals, which...
I don't think the prequels are that bad.
They're not.
I can see why people have problems with them, but I mean, it could be
worse. People who grew up with the originals.
Right. But, I mean, I kind of liked being able to see, like, how Anakin became Darth Vader, training him.
You don't get much of the progression of how Anakin becomes Darth Vader, but you do really get a strong sense of how that progression goes in Clone Wars. But anyway, Attack of the Clones, it's got some good parts in it, but objectively it's the worst. It did spark one of the most meme-worthy lines of the whole Star Wars franchise, though. Unlike saying, it's coarse and rough and irritating.
It gets everywhere.
So number 9 might come as a bit of a shock. It's Return of the Jedi. This one, I mean, it's still, like I said, it's fine for what it was, and as we have the originals as well as like the special edition originals, I kind of like these versions a little better because like this is the first time we saw Jabba. Like I kind of like that it was left a mystery. But
I don't think the whole like gold bikini thing, that was not necessary. It's gross. It's just gross.
And also the Ewoks overpowering the Stormtroopers. Like, I can kind of see it in some regards, but in others it's like, come on, Stormtroopers.
Hey. I like the Ewoks.
I'm not saying the Ewoks are bad.
They're a strong, powerful teddy bears.
Okay. In any sense, number 9 is where Return of the Jedi sits.
On to number 8.
The Phantom Menace. I actually like Phantom Menace. I don't know why, just something about episodes 1 and episode 3. Find enjoyment out of them. Also, I think most people can agree that the pod racing was actually kind of cool.
I actually really liked that, because I remember when we first watched it, and I was just like, wow, this is done really well. You know what I mean?
There's like 2 things in this movie that it does really good. Pod racing, and I think most people unanimously can say the Darth Maul fight at the end between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan.
That was so good.
It's a good time, like with Duel of the Fates and the first time you see a dual-bladed lightsaber. It's just like
they did it really well.
You can't go wrong with that infight, but with all those things that we say that we like about it, it's still gotta sit at number 8. But that's not because like. That's just because like all these other movies on the list are just really good.
Also, I like Jar Jar Binks. I don't care what anybody says.
That's a hot take.
I like Jar Jar.
Number 7 is Revenge of the Sith. Now this is actually my favorite out of the prequel movies. I don't know, just something about this movie is I just enjoy. There's some progression in the Force that you see with Anakin, but also the CGI is done pretty well in this.
Yeah, they did a really, really good job with that.
This movie is my favorite out of the prequels, and it's
like really, really, it's done really, really well.
It's done well, in my opinion.
And I feel like with what they were given, the actors did like really good.
See, I wish that I were into Star Wars back then, because I remember going to the theater. I don't remember what we were seeing, but I was coming back from the bathroom. This was playing.
Oh, wow.
In another theater, and I go over and it's the Mustafar battle, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it does have its flaws.
Oh yeah.
Still don't believe in the whole she died of a broken heart thing.
It's a thing that can happen, but
that's not what happened, and everybody knows it.
There's a strong theory out there that Darth Sidious transferred her life energy to Anakin.
That's exactly what happened.
I'm not gonna go into it, but that's kind of the theory that we subscribe to. But anyway.
On to number 6.
Solo, a Star Wars story. I kept hearing that this was bad.
Yeah, I kept hearing that it was like bad, and so we didn't go see it in the theater for the simple fact that we heard it was bad. Granted, we should have known better because we heard the same thing about Suicide Squad.
That's kind of lost its luster for me. I still enjoy parts of it, but it's not like...
Okay, but that's not the point.
This is something that we need to keep in mind and something that other people need to learn in general. When you see a movie and you're interested in it, make your own conclusion. Like, take the critics' reviews, listen to them, but, like, don't let it define the experience. Make your own conclusion. Go into it with an open mind. If you like it and you have fun, then you like it and have fun.
But yeah, so we heard from a lot of people that it was, like, really bad.
It's a good movie.
But, like, I really liked it.
As like a Han Solo, like, origin.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean?
Donald Glover was amazing as Lando.
Donald Glover's just amazing in everything.
Yeah.
I love him.
And I really liked...
Alden Ehrenreich?
Yeah. He did a really good job as Han.
As a young Han Solo, yeah, Alden Ehrenreich did a good
pretty
job.
Good.
Also, Paul Bettany as, like, the side villain is, like... Yes, Paul Bettany just is a great actor.
I was so upset with, Emilia Clarke's character, though.
Oh, yeah.
She ended up being bad.
Working for Darth Maul.
Spoiler
alert, by the way. It's kind of interesting that this kind of grounds into reality that Clone Wars and Rebels is 100% canon. Darth Maul being alive with his robot legs and his original half-Inquisitor lightsaber, it's just... But, yeah, overall, Solo is a good movie, and it's at the number 6 spot. So now we're getting into our top 5, and number 5 is going to be The Last Jedi.
This was so good.
This was good, but, like, I have my issues with it, but it still didn't keep me from having a good time and enjoying myself with it.
I really liked it.
I enjoyed it. I really loved it the first time that we saw it in theaters. The only thing that kind of, like, takes me away from it, this isn't a knock against the actress, but Rose Tico.
She was not necessary. She was absolutely not necessary. There was no reason for her.
This is not a knock against Kelly Marie Tran. She is a great actress.
I love her.
But just the character in itself...
Her character was not necessary. I feel like they just, like, wrote her in just to have a new character.
We can have new characters, but it's just, like, the thing that I'm not a huge fan of about her is just, like, the whole falling in love with Finn.
Well, they made it seem like she was such this important character just because she was the pilot's sister that died at the beginning. And then they went ahead and just screwed it all up by having her, like, kiss Finn and save him. Like, just let him die!
She really doesn't like Finn.
He's not necessary.
I love Daisy Ridley, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, may she rest in peace.
The whole cast of characters, they did such a good job in this movie. Some things
could have been handled a little better in this movie, but overall, it's still a good movie.
Yeah, it's a really good movie.
Yeah, number 5 is where this one sits. So coming in at number 4, we have A New Hope, the original Star Wars. Now, like I said, we have both the originals, which is what we have out, and we have the special edition originals. This movie is a great movie just because, like, it's the start of it. Yeah, there are some problems with it, but, like, you can't take away from the fact that this is where it started. Mm-hmm. This is where certain things began, and, like, you kind of hold it in higher regard because of that fact.
Mm-hmm. I will admit, when he first, like, suggested that we watch them all before we went and saw The Force Awakens, I was like, do I really need to watch them all?
Yes.
And he was like, yes. Because otherwise you're not going to understand what they're talking about.
It's the same thing with, like, watching the Marvel movies before watching Infinity War, or in this case, watching Endgame.
Leia is sassy. I will admit, it kind of bothered me. Like, this is just, like, a small, tiny detail. You know, when Carrie Fisher's talking, like
half the time she has a British accent.
Yes, and it's like, how? You're not even British.
And it's only in this movie, too.
And it's only in this movie, and it's like, why?
No, That's a thing that happens. But yeah, overall,
Overall, it's a really, really good movie,
really
and
good
I can
movie.
see why people like had this movie in such high regard, and why it was such a big thing.
Number 3 is Rogue One, the movie that happens just before A New Hope.
Which when he first explained that to me, I was super confused.
Well, because the
But
only way that you can
I was
explain
like,
this,
what are you talking about?
the
And
only
then
way you can really explain this movie is that it's the opening crawl to A New Hope.
Yeah, he finally gave up, and he was like, okay, so you know the opening text crawl in A New Hope? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, it's basically that. That's pretty much what it is.
How else can you explain it besides that?
I will admit, when I first saw that they were making a Rogue One, I was like, do we need it though?
It's an interesting concept, and it like helps expand the universe a little more. But it's like,
I mean, it wasn't. Yes, I will admit it probably wasn't 100% necessary, but at the same time, like, I'm not gonna say it's a bad movie. You know what I mean? Once I saw it,
it's a really good movie.
It's a really, really good movie, and I thought they like did it really well.
It's another movie that's like it helps expand the Star Wars canon a little more, but also it grounds the fact in that Clone Wars and Rebels is canon because characters like Saw Gerrera are in it, and like stuff like the Kyber crystals being powering the lightsabers and whatnot. It's really cool to see those types of Easter eggs come in, and the Rebels Easter egg of the ghost ship also in there. That's really cool. I think that everyone can be unanimous in saying that the ending slaughter that Darth Vader does, that's just
beautiful,
amazing.
It was a masterpiece.
That's the Darth Vader that everyone wants to see.
Yeah. But no, I really like how with like the very, very end, how it's like
it just like plays literally right into A New Hope.
Literally, like, what happens at the end is she gets the thing and she turns around, and it's like you can immediately go from watching that to A New Hope.
But yeah, Rogue One, really, 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 really good. Number 2 is Empire. Most people's favorite, but not mine. It was mine for a long while. Empire is it's not just a good Star Wars movie. It's a good movie.
It's a good movie.
You get like good storytelling because there's like 2 stories going on at once of Luke on Dagobah and Han, Leia, and them doing their thing and then going to Cloud City, and then they converge at that point on Cloud City, and that's really nice to see that type of thing. You get to meet Yoda because Yoda's awesome. You get a nice dramatic reveal towards the end with Luke and Darth Vader being his father. And at the end, you don't even get a full resolution.
Yeah.
And it makes people want to come back and see the next one, which is just like what Infinity War did, but Star Wars did it first, and Star Wars is kind of just like, it's Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, no, overall, I mean, it's a really, really good movie. It's done really well. I like how Leia is like this badass.
But, yeah, Empire Strikes Back, just a great movie overall, as well as a great Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And the number 1 for us is
The Force Awakens.
The reason being, like, not only is it just a good movie, in my opinion, but it's also the first movie I was able to see in theaters as, like, a Star Wars fan. Like, I knew Star Wars existed before, but it's like...
You weren't really a fan
I wasn't,
of it?
like, into it as much as I am now.
Yeah.
And, like, seeing The Force Awakens in theater... Like, just the moment you read the words "a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away," and then the title theme starts playing, I literally got chills.
Yeah.
It was just really nice to see past characters, and also the new characters that they introduced are really, really good. I think I said this with The Last Jedi. I love Daisy Ridley. They did a good job with Oscar Isaac and John Boyega. They're all just really good in this new cast, as well as Adam Driver.
Yeah.
The new cast of characters that they did, as well as reintegrating the old cast. Like, I know some people say, like, it's kind of just following the storyline of A New Hope, but it's is that really such a bad thing for the reintroduction of Star Wars after so long?
It makes sense, and it's not like it's exactly
like
the same.
The last Star Wars movie before this was 12 years prior.
Yeah.
So, using a storyline that kind of harkens back to the originals, like people have wanted,
right.
I don't think is the worst thing.
And you get to see all your favorite characters plus these new characters like coming together and working together collectively.
Like, yeah, some things aren't handled as well as they could have done, but it's like, I don't know what else I would have done to change it.
Right. I'm really glad with I'm really happy with what they did with, like, Luke and everything. I'm kind of glad that they made him, like, a crotchety old man.
Yeah, with how they did in
That
The
is, like,
Last Jedi.
fuck the Force.
I think the
Toss
person who said it best about The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi was Cinema Wins. Just the way that they put it, it's just like, that's kind of how I feel about it, and
Yeah.
he kind of put it into words better than I could.
But yeah.
But yeah, that's our Star Wars list. Let us know what you think your favorite Star Wars movies are in the comments, because you guys did with the Marvel movies, and you guys seem to enjoy that, and I liked seeing your guys' comments ranking the MCU movies in your minds too. So if you have a different list than we do for Star Wars, then by all means let us know.
Yeah.
But thanks for coming on again, baby.
You're welcome. We should do this again. You guys comment down below what other movie franchises you think we should rank and give our opinions on.
I've had someone ask if we could do Transformers.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Because then we could do not only the 86 movies, we could do the 5 Michael Bay movies, and the Bumblebee movie when it comes out too. But yeah, that's been another video from us, guys. Thanks so much for watching. This has been 01 Trans Fan.
And me.
And we'll catch you all next time. Take it easy.